While I've decided to stop posting content teaching about my methods because there doesn't seem to be a return currently, I'm going to address the problem more directly now. And I think it's time to actually, take on, quote-unquote, the government from this position pretty directly. In the sense of, I'm considering writing to a senator, but a senator that is, seems to have the best interest of a group that I could align with in mind. And by that, I do not mean like Democrat or Republican or whatever. I mean a policy, a stance, something he's trying to introduce. And that would be the UBI. And I'm going to explain why I'm behind that. Why that would benefit me so much, and really, it would benefit the rest of the country. But, from the selfish stance, from this position, so, I'm going to reference the Matrix, because I was stuck on something, and I knew what the problem was, and then I realized there was a link to a lesson of something that's in the second and third movies that had to do with the issue. So, alright, going back to problems that I've addressed in the past, of saying, like, it seems like when I go somewhere, there's this kind of, like, basically fear, but see, this fear is well-founded, because I already know how the country is set up towards this, because I've already tested trying to get what I'm trying to do across, and I know there's going to be a negative. Now, see, you shouldn't have, that's what's messed me up, is the, Pisces people saying, be optimistic, but, really be objective. Know that it's not your fear getting in the way at certain points, and at a certain point there is just a reality of something that you have to face. And so, when it comes to that, so, because the laws of the country and, policies and the way that everything is currently set up, there's this loop that I'm currently in. And it has to do with these points that cause this feeling. So actually, ironically, what Neo is kind of going through in the second one, well, for him, it's not so much going through it, it's kind of just, it's happening, and he's persevering. But, like, with me, it's always felt more like it's, like, happening to me or whatever, but, like, so, the Burley Brawl scene, when, he just gets swarmed by Agent Smith. Now, if you're any kind of familiar with the past content I've made thus far, you'll know that with me saying that I'm, like an INTP and a Taurus rising, the issues that arise when you're creating your own system for security can come from when you're trying to look ahead and look at a timeline that has to do with, like, doing the right thing, essentially, because, if someone's saying, you have to get money, you have to get, have to survive, essentially, that can cause people to end up being like, okay, well, like, you could be selfish, and you could decide, well, my life's worth someone else's, more than someone else's, or something like that, and try to do the thing that will get you the money the fastest, right? So it's a combination of, it's that and a it's basically that, but if you using the MBTI and astrology speak, it's the INTJ Sagittarius quality. So it would be like INTJ Sagittarius, it'd be like if Agent Smith was doing the right thing, pretty much. So like, quote unquote right thing. The thing that aligns with the vision that would be conducive to his place or whatever he's trying to do or whatever. Anyway, so, that would be, let's say, morally upstanding in, instead of right or wrong, but, you get what I'm trying to go with there, because, like Sagittarius is about, philosophy and higher learning and your point of view and mindset and morality, sort of. Well, morality, really. And even though technically you could say other things have to do with that, but you get what I'm saying anyway. So behind, so like, it's like Agent Smith is able to infect, like there was already the issue of the agents being able to pop in through anyone. But, Agent Smith has this ability, starting in the second, to be able to, copy other people into being like him. And so that's reminiscent. It kind of makes me, it kind of aligns with the feeling of where it feels like everyone's kind of following the same control power dynamic, because they're following those policies. They're like, this is how this is, so this is, how we treat the situation, so on and so forth. So, in the second one, he's persevering, he's continuing to try. And the third one, he's persevering, there's even the part where he's like, why, Mr. Anderson, why do you persist? It's like, because I choose to. And that's kind of, and I rewatched the end of the third movie so many times, because I was always stuck on, like, why is it exactly that the Oracle is laying there at the ground, and what happens at that moment where Smith is like, is talking about the vision that he already had of it happening. He's like, I stand here, right here, and all that. So, what is, I'm supposed to say something, and then he says what the Oracle said earlier, and then what I just realized is, and man, yeah, I'm spoiling it, but the fourth Matrix movie is about to come out, and you really should have seen the first three by now. So I'm one that really hates spoilers, but at this point, man, like, if you haven't seen it, oh well. But like, so, it's been, what, like 15 years now, or something like that. Like, if you were going to watch it, you should have watched it by now. So, but anyway, or really like 17 years or something. But yeah, so, anyway, like, yeah. So the mix-up there is, or was, I didn't realize that when he was doing that, that was the Oracle letting Neo know that he could make a change and impact from inside of the program still. Now, stopping there, that could make you think like, oh, well then, that's saying, put on a suit and tie and, just become one of them, and then you can make a change from within the system. But you can go further than that and realize that it's the concept of why that works. It's why does that part of the code do that? Why is it programmed that way? Right? Why is that policy there? So, So, at that point I realized that it's like I need to do like a, since it's an ESFJ thing, and I can't believe I'm about to do this to myself, but I am. It's so stupid. It's so stupid to bring up a meme like that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I have to be kind of like a Karen, essentially, and be like, I need to talk to the manager. And however much you ascribe me to that meme is up to you, or whatever, but like, and this manner, it's like, I'm around all these people that are at this certain level of power or, control, like their place in the, their position in the hierarchy of making this decision, where they're just having to follow what the government has set up for them, right? And like, so it's like, why do I have to listen to you about this when clearly you don't understand, like, this loop? I should talk to the person that's in, the control. But to explain this loop here, it's actually a, how people talk about like TISI loop, or you get stuck in that. This is more of like an FENI loop, but it's a ESFJ and INTJ loop between the ESFJ and INTJ cycle that's happening with my comfort zone, and the INTJ to ESFJ cycle that's happening with issues that can arise, essentially. And the loop is, okay, if I'm at home, then I can work to a certain point to get stuff at the house straightened out, but it runs into, eventually, these are the laws that this house is set up as, so you need to help in this exact way, or you're doing something wrong. And the other side of the loop is, I can, work to try to do the right thing and cause a change in like teaching and make it impact and a difference. But then it's, why should we listen to you because your home isn't straightened out yet? So you see the problem? So any way I try to take a step either way, it's like there's got to be some type of connection change there. And as long as like this, government has it set up to where people don't learn about that loop, or making an exception or way for that to function. Maybe it's not even an exception. Maybe there already is a way, but I just don't know what it is, and maybe talking to someone there will let me know what it is. But at the same time, it's like, how do I know? If I listen to anyone else around here, and honestly, if I watch the news, I would think, a lot of people in the government are plugged in still, and this politician could be as well, and probably everyone is in some way, really. If there's something you're ignorant about, you're plugged in, and to the matrix or whatever in some way. At least if that's causing you to be able to be controlled, which usually it does. So, but in this case, with Andrew Yang, he's pushing for something that I think would really help me in my situation, and therefore anyone else that's having these same kind of archetypal problems with this, it'll help them too. And plus, from what I understand, and from what my friend has told me, whenever they, like with the stimulus checks, and if you watch like what happens with the billionaires, after they send this money out, they end up making more money from being able to tax on it. And what, for the most part, people end up being able to produce, even though I questioned that at first. I was like, well, if someone makes a bad decision, can't that, amount of money that's going into this cause for there to end up being less than that? But apparently, according to what my friend said, that is an ISTJ Capricorn, so he's going to be pretty wise about like what's going on with the group dynamics, and knowledgeable and have read about it and stuff. He basically it pretty much always becomes more than that, and it ends up making a profit because of how the rich get taxed, or how the taxes work, so, or something to that effect. So yeah, so that's kind of where things are at this point. I gotta basically figure out how to get a group together, or myself just write a really great letter to I'm gonna try out writing a letter to the senator, I guess, and see how that goes, because I don't know, there's a lot that can be done that's not being able to be done because of that issue pervading that sector, or anything below it. So yep, that's kind of what I'm doing. There's a kind of update with what's going on with that, and if I get that sorted out, then I will be cool with sharing more information. But currently, as long as people keep playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card of you're still living with your mom, why should we listen to you, then then I'm stuck here. So, because I'll explain to you too, first up, there's got to be a kind of work that's suitable to me. And you might say, well, no, you should go force yourself to go do it, or whatever. But like,